we have women that don't really care about a man writing a letter, and they don't really care about being courted. They care to have a Birkin bag, and they care to be very logical, and they care to be very masculine, because men care to make that the point of it being popular. So now we are getting exactly the essence of submission. Submission, right? We cannot control and try to reconfigure what submission gets to look like. Can't. There's consequences to this. I'm just pointing out the consequence. Consequences can be good and bad, right? If it is true that A plus B equals C, we're just going with the theory that women are designed, we're supposed to be submissive, that we just follow along, that's how we're supposed to be, right? Then we get to look back at what women are doing and doing differently. Because if that statement is true, if that is what submission is, and that's what women are naturally doing, then we need to look at what were the clues, what were the messages that men left behind generations prior that causes and elicits and encourages changes in behavior. So as an example, right, long time ago, like I think maybe like in the 1800s or so on, they have actually pointed that men control the culture around dress and attire. So back in the day, they couldn't even call piano legs because it was too salacious. Because that's how much men were controlling language. They're controlling how women dress, how long their skirts are, so on and so forth. Now we're entering into the 70s. Drugs is popular. Alcohol is popular. Promiscuous sex is popular. Birth control. Well, yeah, because that was, again, people take these opportunities and create consequences from them that we could not foresee. When we were doing drugs, we weren't trying to get HIV. That wasn't the intention, but it was the consequence.
That's a good point.
You feel me?
Yeah, but no. So, like, I do understand what you're saying, but, like, so you're, in a sense, this is what I'm picking up, and correct me if I'm wrong. We're trying to say that men created and emasculated women.
Well, emasculation is like for the masculine essence of a person.
So
but
then
degraded or...
Let me rephrase it then. What I'm hearing is men created the lack of submissiveness within women.
No.
Okay.
We are being submissive. It's just that you guys don't like the outcome.
But, okay, who caused the outcome?
That's the part that I was saying. The consequences we cannot control.
But what I'm saying is...
If you have sex with a woman, right? Can you
Wait. No. Mm-hmm. I'm asking simple questions. I don't want to go I'm asking very simple questions, right? Mm-hmm. What came first? The chicken or the egg? Was men the chicken, women is the egg? Which one came first? And then the consequence follows the whoever came first. So which one came first?
Men are showing women what they're attracted to, and women are following that.
I think
that's what I'm saying.
All right, now let's run.
So if a man is saying, I am going to provide my attention, right? What do women want? We want community. We want connection, right? We want attention. If men are showing that their attention, that their eye gazes are on the woman that's the bustiest, with the smallest waist and the biggest hips, then women are going to follow suit.
I'm sorry.
I got to get to this point.
Go ahead.
Because
I got something right after this one.
Sure.
Like, all right, that was a good spin. Now, let's take all physical traits. And I already know that. We already know that physical traits have been dictated by what is being, the promoted or marketed look, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about behaviors, right? This is an intangible.
So let's identify the behavior.
The behavior is that this is what I'm going to tell you, because I'm just going to go straight for it. We were talking about that, or I was hearing that we cannot change the way that women are submissive, correct? That's what
we can't just make up random definitions
of it. Exactly. Cool. Yeah. So that means that the act of submissiveness in this context should stay the same no matter what time and point that you decide to identify, whether it's 1700s, 1800s, 1978, or 2022, right? So now when we start to talk about what has changed, right, I believe, in my opinion, and there is some research that supports this that we've spoken about here on 8 at the Table, it wasn't a man that decided, hey, look, I want you to go do this. More so life, right? Because women started working, right? As women started working while men were at war, guess what that probably created? A lack of submissiveness. But this is not a man's thing. This is not a music outcome. This was a life outcome, right? You have a country and another country going to war. Now women have to become a role model and or head of household, right? So now they're taking on a lot of the pants. Let's just say they're taking on the pants. Now there's a domino effect in that.
Yes.
So now what I just want, because what I was hearing, and I just want to make sure that I'm not hearing this wrong, is that I don't personally believe that men are the cause, because there is a cause and effect for everything, because you're talking about consequence. That's the effect. I don't think that men are the cause for this. I think that men are the cause for the oppression. I think men are the cause for the, lack of consideration, rights, and everything negative that they were doing, controlling, right, even to the attire of a woman. But I don't think men were the cause of this outburst that we're having right now.
That's part of that's what I kind of mean. It's kind of like, I don't know, maybe I'll intend to drop the bomb of Hiroshima, but the consequences of it, I can't control that.
I think I understand where you're coming from with consequences, but I think where we're way off on is women who are doing their bodies and they're doing all this extra stuff and they're doing the most. The guy that you think you attracting doesn't want you the way you think. He just want to have a good time with you and keep it moving.
Correct.
What happens is that those movements, they don't mess it up for the real men. Like a thorough dude, he's not affected by that. You got to remember, this guy 25 years ago, he's not buying all the magazines and hanging it on his wall. He has that in real life. So to him, it's nothing. When women do all that extra stuff, what they're really getting is the guys that can't get her. So it's not really a form to blame on men. It's more a form for her to get attention from unqualifying men.
I'm not blaming.
Disagree.
No, I didn't hear blame.
Yeah, I'm not blaming men. What I'm saying is that
it was a sugar-coated way of saying it.
No, not at all. As I said, I'm a men's advocate, right? So when I work with my male clients and they want to be the leader, be recognized as a leader in their home, there's a way to execute that. And part of some of the greatest leaders are the ones that consider those that they intend to lead. Some of the worst leaders, think about in a work environment. The worst leader ever is the one who comes in, he gets hired, he's the new president, he just starts changing shit. He doesn't know Sister Mary over there, whose son is paraplegic, and so she needs to be out on Thursdays because that's the only time physical therapy he can get it or whatever. Like, he doesn't care about anybody. He's just numbers driven. That, for the most commoners, is like, he is the worst leader. The best leaders are the ones who take the time to get to know people, know what makes them thrive and what's going to make them work for them and have integrity, so that when he's not looking, they're still keeping up with what he says that they need to do. Yeah, so when I work with men and I help men understand is that the leadership that you're craving, there's a way to arrive to that, and it doesn't mean that you are a leader because you're a male, right? So what I'm saying is, when it comes to submissiveness, right, and a woman being agreeable, women can be agreeable 100%, but you have to also take accountability for the parts of her that are showing up that are related to decisions and choices, trends, behaviors, and things that you're focused on. So when men show women, I care about how you look, and I'm not saying that you guys are wrong. I'm saying if that's what's being heard, then women are missing the other aspects of a man that matter, such as femininity, right? That's now being spoken.
What point are we adults?
Yeah, because I think that I'm so confused and lost that I'm trying to find my way, right? A lot of men don't qualify to lead.
Facts.
That's just a fact.
And it never will happen.
That's what she's saying.
No matter, you can't train them. They just don't qualify. You could tell them everything that you want, and there are women who are just not feminine.
Yep.
And you could try.
Do you know why?
Because however the person is wired, right? They're wired, right?
No, that's not actually true.
Okay.
What makes you think that the way that a woman is wired is going to determine how feminine she can be.
Because you watch people take L's.
So is that wiring, or is that's nature versus nurture? So is that her nature, or is that her environment?
Well, I believe that wiring changes. So, for example, we have a term that we all know is called reprogramming. You could reprogram a lot of people, but you also can't reprogram a lot of people, and that needs to be understood because there are people that are too far gone. There are men that will never be able to lead because they are too far gone. There are women that will never be able to be as feminine as women, I guess, are
that naturally are
feminine
point.
because they are too far gone.
That's my point. If you need to get far away from from something, that means you have a baseline.
Well, what I'm saying is,
so if they're coming far away from masculinity and someone's coming, and I agree with you, right? I actually think that we have some parts that we agree more. There's just the semantics that might be different.
We're having different conversations, I truly believe.
Yeah, I think so too.
I agree with you. It's 100% correct in that they're far gone. Yes, and that means that they have a baseline. When you look at the primitive responses, right? So I'm just like, a lot of my history, a lot of my learnings is like primitive responses, how a person's brain is wired. I agree with you. There's reprogram, there's neuroplasticity, there's all these changes that can occur, right? What I'm saying is that I do want men to benefit from their relationships. I do want men to feel like the king. I do want men to feel emotionally held and feel like they can make decisions. But I want to support men in order for them to achieve that by helping them understand primitively what a woman needs in order to arrive to that. You can't just come in an environment and say, I'm the president, you have to do what I say. No one's going to recognize you as the best leader.
So now let me also flip this script on you real quick, because that sounds poetic and idealistic, but that's not the reality for a lot of situations, and it's in 2022. Because at some point in time, we got to start taking into consideration that some men can be as considerate as they want.
I don't want a man to be considerate. I want to be decisive.
How about decisive,
yes.
mindful,
yes.
knowledgeable,
yes.
about how to get a woman to do what it is that he wants her to do. And there are some women that are not going to be receptive because this is a two-end street. You're talking about two lost individuals now. So now you have a man trying to battle a man trying to battle himself to bring him to a point in time where he is now able to get a woman who is battling herself, right? So then that way they can, I guess, find the roles of femininity and masculinity within a relationship. That's never going to happen. It's not going to happen for some people. Not all.
What you heard me say?
What I heard you say, right, is that men need to learn a woman. Men need to learn women to the point where that they can know how to basically get them to be the woman that they want them to be. That's what I heard.
What I heard too.
So let me.
And you're very, very smart.
That's actually not what I heard at all.
Okay, so now you have to speak